Now to move on to a very special ONA award. This award honors the people behind the scenes who are making tools to help journalists do their best work. Because we gotta be honest, it takes a village of support to pull off a truly exemplary piece of journalism. Here's ONA Board Secretary and OJA Co-Chair Shazna Nessa to present our second ever ONA Community Award.
Hi everyone. So I am super honored to be presenting the second ever Community Award. And this award is really special because it's the community, including so many of you tuning in today and in the room today, who made the nominations. This award honors an individual or a small team who have worked behind the scenes. They've worked behind the scenes, perhaps to create a powerful network of people who come together to solve a problem. Or perhaps they've worked behind the scenes to create new tools that enable digital journalists to do their best work. Or perhaps they've created an amazing project that has influenced and resonated with the industry. The winner of the award today has achieved all three of these things. This year, the award goes to the journalists of color Slack administrators. They've created a powerful 1,300-person network of journalists of color who come together to learn from one another, to share knowledge with one another, and to support one another with the goal of advancing diversity in our newsrooms and in our journalism. So who are these administrators? We have Lo Benishu. We have Cece Wei. Tahid Chappell. Eric Rayner. Aaron Williams. Lam Thuy Vo. And Julia B. Chan.
Hi, I'm Julia. And you are a very intimidating group to be speaking in front of, but that's what makes this honor so great. Because if any group knows what it takes to make journalism happen, it's this one. You are all intimately aware of the work it takes to bring an idea to life and produce a story for other humans to read, listen, watch, experience, and engage with. Even in the smallest newsroom, it's never just one person making it all happen. There's an invisible infrastructure that exists that often isn't bylined or credited. As a journalist of color working in the digital space, when you fall into one of these non-traditional roles, the loneliness and lack of support can be acutely felt. So the origins of the JOC Slack, or jocks, as I like to joke, we're redefining the term jocks post-high school. It very much came from this place of anxiety. I'm sure you are all familiar with a bad day in the newsroom, so there are some things you do when that happens. You take a walk around the block, you may text a newsroom confidant to meet you in the bathrooms or at the closest cafe. So Aaron Williams and I used to work together. He's no longer on the screen, but he was the guy on the bottom. We used to do that. That's how we provided support for each other. And one day when I was waiting for him at a Starbucks across the street, I was thinking about how unsustainable and unscalable this kind of support was. And what about journalists of color who were the only ones on their team, in their department, or in their entire organization? So very much inspired by the Lonely Coders Club, which is a community our colleague Scott Pham started, we created the Journalists of Color Slack. In those first few weeks, it was just me, Aaron Williams, and Mike Grant chatting it up. But now, 4 years later, we're nearly 1,300 strong. So JOCs tapped into an urgent need for community and support, one that was lacking in this industry that we love so much and are so desperate to thrive in. Minority journalism organizations like AAJA, NABJ, NAHJ, and NAJA paved the way, of course. JOC is just a layer on top of those long, legendary legacies of hard work. We wanted to create a place where journalists of color could easily talk and connect with each other, vent, advise, and share. And what happens in JOC aspires to make an impact. When JOCs advise each other on salary negotiations and they get paid more, that is helping to move the needle on equity in our industry. When JOCs mentor each other on stories and coverage, that is helping to provide new lenses and context to our journalism. And when we organize in-person events and allies show up to ask hard questions about effective support and communication, that is helping to create a more inclusive network and culture outside of JOCs. But this isn't enough. This is just a space for convening, and what happens in the real world depends on all of you here in this room today and what you're willing to do in your newsrooms to invest in, give visibility to, and elevate journalists of color. Because at this stage, it's not enough to just hire people of color. Equity and inclusion are the next frontiers ensuring we serve our audience as well. And that can mean relinquishing power and giving it to a journalist of color, or giving resources, time, and editorial space to stories from journalists of color about communities of color. So the work you see from these faces next to me and previously on the screen, their work has been crucial to these efforts. This team has created procedure and guidelines from scratch. Lam here providing essential coaching to younger journalists. Cece bridging work from her organization to the JOC's community. Lo and Tahid vetting our many, many join forms, of which there was a huge uptick after this award was announced. Aaron finding ways to use Slackbot to streamline communications, and Eric laying down the law on @channel pings. We all know who does that, and you should stop. So that's just a small slice of the work this team has put into the community. JOC is really the best of what we do as journalists. It's community engagement, relationship building, articulation, and organization. So thank you so much to ONA for recognizing and honoring the labor, passion, and necessity of this network. And for you, the ONA community, for honoring the kind of work that is very much behind the scenes and often goes unacknowledged. Thanks to each and every person beside me and on the screen for volunteering their time and energy. And most importantly, thank you to the JOC community. You're out here. You all make it what it is today. We're not a monolith, but there's power in unity, and you'll only hear more from us. Thank you.